Wow.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
The voters may have to wait a while for this race to be called, but CNN has learned the Trump campaign won't necessarily wait for news organizations to make that call. That's even if a large number of mail-in ballots remain uncounted. The Trump campaign, we're told, plans to be very aggressive and is preparing to declare victory if the president is close to, but doesn't clinch, the 270 electoral votes needed to win re-election. Now, that would represent a break from practices in every modern election and defy basic common sense. It appears President Trump faces an uphill battle fight in Pennsylvania, perhaps the most important of all battleground states for him. So what's he doing? He's laying the groundwork for a legal fight. Mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania can arrive up to 3 days after Election Day and still be counted there. That's a decision for now that the U.S. Supreme Court lets stand and the president wants to challenge.
I think it's a terrible decision by the Supreme Court. A terrible decision. Now, I don't know if that's going to be changed because we're going to go in the night of. As soon as that election's over, we're going in with our lawyers.
It's important to recognize here, of course, that vote counting always continues beyond election night. Pennsylvania is one of 22 states plus Washington, D.C. that will count votes arriving after Election Day. That also includes the swing states of North Carolina and Ohio.
Oh! Hello, everybody. You ready? You ready? It's going to be unbelievable. Holy crap, the intimidation has begun. The violence is out there. The threats are... Strap in. That's what you just strap on in. We're here with you. You're here with me. We'll get through this. It's just messy. It's just messy. You know, part of me, I will tell you, is panicked. And another part of me is not, because all of me is not panicked. Do you know what I mean? Do you have that feeling? It's like, you know that, even when Biden wins, that we're going to have to spend every single second up until January 20th, not to jinx it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's, wow, this is so unbelievable. And he's already threatening lawyers, which means he knows he lost. He knows he lost. And this sentiment of his that he's going to declare victory before all the ballots are counted, because that's what he did with COVID. And look how well that worked. We had 99,000 cases in one day on Friday. 99,000 cases in one. It looks like the doctors are calling this down to almost a person, down to almost a man. And Donald Trump is threatening to fire the doctors. Literally. He's spreading this lie. We heard it once. I heard it 3 times over the weekend. That doctors profit off of COVID when they put the cause of death on a birth certificate as being COVID. Now, you wonder, how could a person even think of such a thing? Because it's not true. And then you realize that that is exactly what Trump would do if Trump were a doctor. Can you imagine if Trump were a doctor? Can you imagine? I mean, I still don't think he would be able to have killed as many people as he did as president. But if Trump were a doctor, he probably would have just ended up at Housing and Urban Development like Ben Carson, a brain surgeon in charge of housing. But instead, or, like Dr. Scott Atlas, who's his guru now, a radiologist. Dr. Atlas, ended up with a fabulous career on Fox News as a guest. Right? That's the extent of his expertise. And then this weekend, Dr. Scott Atlas literally went on Russian state television. Yeah, he was on Russia Today. He did not know that Russia Today was a foreign agent. It is. And now he says he was duped. He was duped. So I'm so glad he's in charge of the coronavirus, the pandemic. I'm so glad he is. This is just unbelievable. But we had a lot of problems over the weekend, a lot of incidents, okay? this is what people do when they know they're outnumbered. They start to intimidate people with their small groups. And of course, these people know they're outnumbered. They just do. That's why they're driving around in trucks. I've seen them in Florida. You saw what, did you see what happened in Texas? This is how it started. It started in Texas on Friday. You had Kamala, believe it or not. She was doing whistle stops in Texas. I mean, she was having campaign rallies in Texas, and a bunch of Trumpanzees decided to try and run the bus off the road by surrounding the bus with their F-150s, but with their trucks. And then one of them actually became so violent and so agitated with the mere presence of a bus that had Biden's name on it. That just triggered him. And so there was an escort car, and he tried to knock the escort car out of his way so he could knock the bus off the road. Well, they got in front of the bus, on the side of the bus, and in the back of the bus, and then they tried to slow the bus down to like 20 miles an hour. The police had to be called. The police had to escort the bus. And then I guess they were in Pflugerville. They were trying to go to Pflugerville, Texas, and they had to postpone the rally, cancel the rally, actually, because tomorrow's Election Day, because there were armed protesters at the site of the rally. In Graham, North Carolina, you had like souls to the polls. You had a bunch of people that were being led by a Reverend Greg Drumright, and he was leading his parishioners to the courthouse to take a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in memory of George Floyd, and then they were going to go to a polling place and they were going to cast their ballots. Didn't happen because the police in Graham, North Carolina, decided that they were going to pepper spray this group, and this group was literally obstructed from casting their votes, right? They could not cast their votes. That's illegal, by the way. And then, I was like, what kind of a police department is this? Turns out, I look up this police department. It's Alamance County. You could do it too, but it's in the homework for your ease. Just go to randirhodes.com and click on the homework. And you'll see it. It's a Department of Justice press release from 2012. It was a 2-year investigation, started in 2010, into this particular sheriff's department and this particular police force. And the Justice Department found reasonable cause to believe that the Alamance County Sheriff's Office engages in a pattern and practice of discriminatory policing, especially against Latinos, in violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Yeah, it bullet points all the different things, including, racial epithets, explicitly instructing deputies to target people based on their skin color, uses jail booking and detention practices, including practices related to immigration status checks that discriminate against Latinos. They arrest Latinos for minor traffic violations. They don't give citations even to non-colored people. And they practice putting checkpoints in neighborhoods they don't like based on the ethnicity. They routinely locate the checkpoints just outside of neighborhoods, forcing residents to endure police stops when entering or exiting their communities, and that they are about 10 times more likely to stop Latino drivers than non-Latino drivers. On and on it goes. And that is this particular sheriff's office that pepper sprayed not just congregants of adult age, but children. They pepper sprayed children. They tackled children. I have the videos. And then crazy Trump supporters in New Jersey and New York, right on the border there, they decided that they were going to jam the Garden State Parkway. Are you freaking kidding? Did you learn nothing from Chris Christie? People don't like it when you mess with traffic. They don't like it. It pisses them off. It makes them mad. I mean, it's like one against the other now. It's just so bizarre and unforgivable, really.
All things Randi at randirhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
All right, everybody. This is a little town called Graham, North Carolina.
We ran. Say what? Say what? We ran. Say what? Say what? We ran. For change. As we have asked the city of Graham and all officials to assist us in closing these streets, to bring people to the polls. But before we get there, we're going to stop by here. Somebody say, we're going to stop by here. We're going to stop by here. And have a conversation. And have a conversation. We'll build our stage first. If you all will hang tight, y'all, if you have to, just party. The streets belong to us.
Clear the roadway. Clear the road.
If you don't clear the roadway, you will be arrested.
Move to your designated area. And this is what you do to us. This is why we march.
Oh, my God.
Let's go. Let's go. Inside the food. Nope.
That's a journalist. Uh-huh.
You're under arrest. Let go of the camera.
Bro, you sprayed a kid on me. I did.
Hey, you dropped your safety.
You got on a jacket. Yo.
Hey, sir, you dropped your safety.
You
did drop your safety. That's actually.
You owe it to the people that come behind this generation. That's right. Every time we demand change, change comes. Don't give up. Do not give up.
Oh, my God.
Get back up.
Medic! Medic!
Oh, my God.
What you do? They gonna keep spraying us in the face, man. Every day.
I can't see! We can walk to the east and to the west. This is your second warning. We were willing to power off. You escalated this situation. If you do not cease your unlawful behavior at the Alamance County Historic Courthouse and disperse peacefully, you will be arrested. Whose street? Our street. What do we want? Where do we want it?
Oh, my God. He put his hands in. Look at that.
Go. Go.
Where do you want me to go? You want us to go? You fucking excuse me. We're moving. Go.
I'm going.
Go.
I'm going.
Go.
Don't touch my camera.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Don't touch my camera. I'm not touching your stuff. Don't touch mine.
They won't need no more.
Who? Why does a town called Graham, North Carolina, have this kind of riot gear? I mean, what is it for? They spray people like they're like a can of Raid in their hands. Like these people are less than human. Like they're bugs. And what were they doing? They had a permit. They walked to a courthouse. They took a knee for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in silence. In silence. In memory of George Floyd, who died in Minneapolis, right? We know that. And as soon as the moment of silence ended, they started pepper fogging them with foggers, spraying irritants in people's face, kids too, little kids. It was so disgusting. And one of the protesters happens to be a man who's running for office in the state of North Carolina. And he had this to say about it.
Hey, everybody, it's Scott Huffman. I'm running for Congress here in District 13, and my eyes are full of pepper spray because, you know, we were peacefully demonstrating. We were exercising our First Amendment rights with Black Lives Matter, and what I've witnessed is what is happening all over America. This is wrong. people should be allowed to show up, to exercise their rights to vote. We're all taxpayers. The police work for us. Yet today I witnessed pepper spray, chemical weapons being sprayed on my fellow Americans. One of my fellow veterans is here, Master Chief Clark. I don't know where he is. My campaign staff manager, Monica, I don't know where she is. We both got separated because of what's happening here. But you know what? I urge everyone to exercise their right to vote. This is more important than ever before. If we don't stop this mess, our country's going to fall apart. It's really just plain and simple. I can't ask you enough. Please, if you're not voting for me, at least exercise your right to vote. This should not be happening. I have 3 children. There were children here that got pepper sprayed. This is horrible. They should not be doing this to fellow Americans. Black lives matter. And it won't matter. All lives won't matter until we stop this. And I mean it. I urge my Republican opponent, Ted Budd, to finally stand up to this white supremacist, stand up to these neo-Nazis, and stand for America, not those people. This is wrong.
It is wrong. It is just so bizarre. And that's not the only place, okay? That was like the first place that we got a clue that things were going to be violent going into Election Day. That it started on Friday. That was Friday in Graham, North Carolina. It's a tiny little town. And there you have a Navy vet who's running for Congress from the 13th District of North Carolina. Okay, so that's what that is. Then we saw in Virginia, there was they were screaming at each other in Richmond in front of the statue of Robert E. Lee. And then in Georgia, the Democrats had to cancel their rally before it even began on Sunday because they were threatened with a large militia presence. And they were like, okay, let's not even egg these people on. Then on Sunday, a group of Trump supporters, this is the one that mostly everybody has seen, right? A group of Trump supporters in Texas, they were driving their trucks, they were waving their Trump flags, and they surrounded the Biden-Harris campaign bus as it drove on I-35, Interstate 35, and they had to cancel 2 planned rallies that they had in Texas, and the FBI confirmed on Sunday it is investigating this incident. The man that was, you'll see, I'll show you it's a very short video taken from, a passerby who had their camera on, seeing all these, Trump vehicles. I think she was a Trump pansy, filming it, and then all of a sudden she saw one of the Trump people in their car just swerve and slam into a vehicle that was escorting the bus. So what does our president of the United States do about that? He tweets, "I love Texas." And then he goes to a rally and he lies to the people at the rally saying the Trump supporters were protecting the Biden-Harris bus. And then he goes to another rally and he said, these patriots did nothing wrong. So knocking a car off the road is patriotic.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Okay, so this is how it started, okay? Here's a little crackhead Junior egging them on, okay? Telling his group, his supporters, to go stir things up in Laredo.
Hey, Laredo. Don Jr. here. I heard you had an awesome turnout for the Trump train. It'd be great if you guys would all get together, head down to McAllen and give Kamala Harris a nice Trump train welcome. Get out there, have some fun, enjoy it. Don't forget to vote and to bring all of your friends. Let's show them how strong Texas still is as Trump country. Get out there, guys. Thank you.
Douche. But it's Antifa. No, it's Junior, the crackhead, making Instagrams and telling them, go harass Kamala. Go harass her. And that is exactly what they did. Watch.
Running them out of Texas. It is hilarious. I'm about to run out of gas, which I'm sure some of you would love. Look at that.
Oh, that's friendly.
Oh my God.
Oh my God is right. Oh my God is right. That is somebody using a motor vehicle, a car, as a weapon against a car that's escorting the Biden-Harris bus to a rally. That's offensive. A rally, even speaking, is offensive to Trump supporters. And then Donald Trump decided to, address it at one of his rallies, that he was having. I believe he was in Michigan. And instead of saying, hey, there's no need. We have the superior argument, or our, COVID response was supremely good, or America's on the right track. And no, it isn't true that we lost more jobs, and that I'm the only president running for re-election with an actual job loss on my record at the time. No, he says that those people were protecting Kamala Harris.
Did you see the way our people, they were protecting his bus yesterday because they're nice.
Yeah,
so
they
they had hundreds of cars. Trump and the American flag. That's it. You see Trump and American flag. Do you ever notice when you see the other side? I don't even see much of the other side.
Because we're not in our cars knocking people off the road. It doesn't mean that, we're not doing anything. We were trying to have rallies of our own. Then he decided that it was trending on Twitter, and that was great.
Did anybody see the picture of their crazy bus driving down the highway? They're surrounded by like hundreds of cars, and they're all Trump flags all over the place. What a group. No, it's like a hot thing. See, that's really #1 trending.
This man is bizarre. He's mean. He's stupid, and he doesn't understand that this doesn't work for him. Violence isn't going to work for him. It's literally no one's going to be intimidated. No one's not going to vote. But he loves this violence. I love Texas. In my opinion, these patriots did nothing wrong. So using your car as a weapon, or pepper spraying people who just came from church, and all they wanted to do was go vote. You should spray them. You should spray them like bugs. And by the way, the Proud Boy, a self-proclaimed Proud Boy, his name's Tony Raymond. He's been arrested for sending anonymous emails to a local newspaper threatening to bomb a polling place in freaking North Dakota. The Grand Forks Herald reported it, and it's the Dickinson in the email to the Dickinson Press. He wrote, "I will blow up the voting location in Stark County." The email was signed by the Proud Boys. Dickinson Police Sergeant Joe Ciani said his investigators traced the email's IP address, which is like every house has an address. Your house has an address. My house has an address. Every computer has an address. It's called an IP address. And they traced the IP address, and they determined that Anthony Raymond was responsible for the email. And he was threatening to blow up a polling place. You had some guy in Georgia set fire to a drop box of ballots. You got Nazis on Instagram pretending to be Antifa, and they're getting caught, by Twitter as being Antifa, as being Nazis. They took down one of the accounts that was run by a white supremacist group. And they wrote, "This account violated our platform manipulation and spam policy, specifically the creation of fake accounts. We took action after the account sent a tweet inciting violence and broke the Twitter rules. It's an example of white supremacists seeking to inflame tensions in the United States by posing as left-wing activists online." So what does Donald Trump do? On Sunday, he tweets that he's going to designate Antifa as a terrorist organization, not that he has any existing legal authority to do so. Then in Colorado, in Morrison, Colorado, thousands of cars, filled the interstates on Sunday. The MAGA drag the interstate. Everyone in between Pueblo and Fort Collins. They all tried to jam up traffic, and then they did it in New York. They on the Garden State Parkway.
We shut it down, baby. We shut it down. We shut it down. We shut it down.
Why would you want to do that? That just pisses people off. It's like if you weren't going to vote, now you're really going to vote. It's like Bridgegate all over again, except this time it's Trump supporters and it's, freaking Proud Boys and it's, threats and we're going to shut it down. Why? If you're going to win, why are you doing all this? Why are you keeping people from getting to the polling places? Why are you threatening people? Why are you burning ballot boxes if you think those ballots are for Trump? Why are you doing all this, huh? Why is Donald Trump, attacking doctors? Why is Donald Trump poised to declare premature? He's a premature guy. I knew it. Premature. Can't wait. Can't wait to finish it. Can't wait. And he's going to prematurely declare victory so that people start repeating it. Is that the reason why? Because I got news for you. Nobody's going to start repeating it. Nobody. Know why? You got military ballots, you freaks. They have to be counted. And they come, 1 in 5 is from Florida. Okay, you got tens of thousands of ballots that are sent, by mail. And military ballots, obviously, are allowed to come as long as they're postmarked by Election Day. Yeah, by Election Day. Just like you vote in person, you have to do it by Election Day. Well, if you voted absentee and it arrives by Election Day, it counts, just like your vote counts in person on Election Day. But you got people all over the world trying to vote. And they want to disenfranchise the military now? What are they afraid of? Oh, that's right. The people. They're afraid of the people. The people are coming. This is unbelievable. This is just so... and the White House. They're building a large, non-scalable fence around the White House. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be able to keep the election results out, do you?
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The Biden bus was heading, there's a big Greyhound bus-like bus, painted blue with Biden's markings on the side. And it was on Interstate Highway in Texas. And a bunch of Trump trucks, pickup trucks with Trump flags, tried to run it off the road. We're stopping it, dropping in front of it. And the president saw it, took the video that someone had taken, and tweeted it back out and said, "I love Texas."
Sick.
I love Texas. When I was here in Philly earlier today, there are 80 Trump pickup trucks with flags riding around my block, beeping their horns for a couple hours. They just shut down, they shut down the Garden State Parkway, blocked it. We've never had anything like this. At least we've never had a president who thinks it's a good thing.
Really?
My granddaughter was showing me on the way here in the car a video of Donald Trump Jr. saying, "Keep it up. Find out where," I'm paraphrasing, "find out where Kamala Harris is," and I think she's in McClellan, Texas. I'm not positive of that. "Why don't you go down and greet her the same way?" Folks, that's not who we are. We are so much better than this. We're so much better than this. It's not who we are. We got to change it. We're at a real inflection point here. This next election is going to determine not just the outcome of the next 4 years, but for a generation, what's going to happen. So I feel an overwhelming sense of obligation. I'm sure Brendan and all of you do. We can be so much better than we are. There's so many opportunities, so many incredible opportunities. The blinders have been taken off the American people. They've seen what's really going on now, and they're ready. We're ready to make sure we can make this country so much better. We can build back so much better than before.
So Biden knows. I mean, everybody knows. The whole freaking world knows. The law enforcement authorities, they're increasingly worried too, not just about what they've already seen, but about what's been threatened online. So most of the internet threats we haven't seen. They haven't migrated to the streets yet, according to a senior law enforcement official who reviewed the Homeland Security Department bulletins and warnings, as well as the online agitators. Law enforcement officials say that the online posts by instigators could materialize into violent acts. So I have to tell you, there are cities now, cities that are boarding up because they know that the Trump supporters are going to agitate, they're going to infiltrate, they're going to break things, they're going to do crazy stuff. And so you see, if you're in Los Angeles, Jessica told me everything's boarded up. I saw Macy's in L.A. You know, she said all of it is boarded up, that Beverly Hills is boarded up. I saw Macy's boarded up. Same thing in D.C. New York City is boarding up. And believe me, you don't board up because you have a bunch of liberals in New York City who are eager to have their votes counted and want to see their state go blue, which it will. Same thing with California. But you board up because you know that these people are furious about what's about to happen to them, and they want to lash out. It's like I said, you know, the Trump supporters, you know who they are. You know what guy they are. And they are guys, okay? Women, overwhelmingly. I think, Biden's got like a 80 percentage point lead or some crazy number in women. So they're men, and they're white men, okay? And they're undereducated white men. And they are the guy you never wanted to invite to your party, okay? They're the guy who maybe you hang out with and and blah, 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 and you could stomach him, but then as soon as there's a little bit of alcohol, or as soon as there's a little bit of fun, or as soon as it's a little late at night, the guy can't keep it together. He can't keep his crap together. He ends up in a fight with somebody. He ends up throwing punches at somebody, and he ruins everybody's good time. That's who they are. Those are the dead enders for Trump, because he is going to lose. He is going to lose. Now, I don't know how Florida's going to go. This is Florida, for God's sake. It's Florida. But I will tell you, if Florida does go blue, this thing is over. It's over. Take a breath and go home. There are many ways that the president can lose. Let's just put it that way. There's very few paths for him to win. And most of them include states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota. And I just don't see it. Nobody does, okay?
Take a look at the polls. Look at the roadmap to 270 electoral votes, okay? Let's give Joe Biden the Hillary Clinton state. That gets him to 232. Then give him Wisconsin, Michigan, where he's up by 9 and 8 points, and that gets him to 258. Then look, you give Joe Biden the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. He's up by 6 there. That gets him to 278 electoral votes. So that is the key state that gets him over the top in the Electoral College. And you'll note right below that is Nebraska's 2nd congressional district in Arizona, and we'll get to those in a second. But Pennsylvania right now looks like the state that gets Joe Biden over 270 electoral votes.
So you just foreshadowed there, Harry. You talked about Arizona. Why is Arizona, shall we call it, a backdoor Pennsylvania?
Yeah, exactly. It's the Pennsylvania of the Southwest. Here's the situation. So look at this electoral map, where you essentially give Joe Biden all the states where he led by 4 points in the average of polls in both September and October, and still now in November, except for Pennsylvania. And look at this. You get Joe Biden to exactly 270 electoral votes. So that includes Arizona, that includes Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So even if he loses Pennsylvania, if he wins in Arizona and Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, he can still do it. Oh!
Okay, and how does Trump win, Harry?
President Trump's best path is basically to hold in the Sun Belt, right? And then win in the state of Pennsylvania. If he's able to do that, which is possible, even if it's not likely, he'll get up to 279 electoral votes. So look, Donald Trump, it's not the same situation as it was 4 years ago. He needs a larger polling error to pull it off, but it's still plausible even at this late hour.
So Pennsylvania. And guess what? Pennsylvania does not start counting mail-ins or absentee ballots until Wednesday. And Donald Trump has already said he wants his results on Tuesday. And if he doesn't get his results on Tuesday, he's calling the lawyers.
It can only lead to one thing, and that's very bad. You know what that thing is. I think it's a very dangerous, terrible thing. And I think it's terrible when we can't know the results of an election the night of the election in a modern-day age of computer. I think it's a terrible thing. And I happen to think it was a terrible decision for our country made by the Supreme Court. I think it was a terrible decision for our country. And I think it's a very dangerous decision because you're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 states, depending on how it ends up, where they're tabulating ballots, and the rest of the world is waiting to find out. And I think there's great danger to it, and I think a lot of fraud and misuse can take place. I think it's a terrible decision by the Supreme Court, a terrible decision. Now, I don't know if that's going to be changed because we're going to go in the night of, as soon as that election's over, we're going in with our lawyers. But we don't want to have Pennsylvania where you have a political governor, a very partisan guy. And we don't want to have other states like Nevada where you have the head of the Democratic clubhouse as your governor. We don't want to be in a position where he's allowed to every day watch ballots come in. Gee, if we could only find 10,000 more ballots. Because we're doing great in Nevada, we're doing great in Arizona, we're doing great all over. But if you take Nevada or Pennsylvania, and everyone knows what happens in Philadelphia, you don't have to say it, but I've read about it for years.
What?
And I don't think it's fair that we have to wait a long period of time after the election. If people wanted to get their ballots in, they should have gotten their ballots in long before that, a long time. They don't have to put their ballots in the same day. They could have put their ballots in a month ago. And we think it's a ridiculous decision. Thank you.
He's a lunatic. He is a lunatic, okay? Pennsylvania does not start counting the absentees and the mail-ins until Wednesday. Now, what does it say that he's going to go unleash his lawyers? I think that's a way to tell if the candidate knows he's losing. I really do. Get the lawyers ready, Junior. I got news for Donald Trump. The election isn't over until the ballots are tabulated. Because this here is America. It's America. And you could build your fence and you could, shutter yourself in so that what? The General Services Agency can't come and change your key code? Is that why he's building a fence around the White House, a non-scalable fence? I don't know. But the thing about intimidation, it doesn't really work when you are outnumbered. And they're outnumbered. There are more of us. And we're coming.
Mary had a little lamb. The fourth, we believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
This is the line that'll guide the inaugural parade, that'll bring the next president to the White House to begin to heal the nation. A president elected by the votes of the people, including troops deployed around the world voting by mail, as they have since the Civil War, unless Donald Trump stops those votes from being counted.
It would be very, very proper and very nice if a winner were declared on November 3rd instead of counting ballots for 2 weeks.
Tens of millions are voting absentee, ballots that some states won't even start counting until polls close Tuesday. We won't have a final count for days, but the democracy we fought for is worth the wait, because every vote counts, whether it's mailed from a far-off battlefield or a rural mailbox. And when the counting is done, if the president needs help vacating the premises, we'd be happy to walk him out.
Oh! Vote vets, everybody. Vote vets. Gotta love them. So the military ballots have different rules, right? No. The military ballots are able to arrive through November 5th in South Carolina, for example. In Pennsylvania, you can get your ballot there on November 10th. Florida accepts military ballots until November 13th. So when the president says he's going to send his lawyers in to stop counting votes, he's saying he doesn't want the military ballots to count either. Now, I hope my fellow veterans will, take that to heart and understand what the president is saying. Because what you have here is data that's based on the U.S. Election Assistance Commission that you've got, as you know, 1.3 million active duty forces and 252,000 absentee ballots being sent in. 1 in 5 are being sent to Florida, Pennsylvania. There's almost 10,000 service members who voted by mail in 2016. And like I said, in Pennsylvania, the military ballots are allowed to arrive by November 10th and still be counted. Florida, your ballot, if you're in the military, voting absentee or voting, long distance, let's just say, your ballot can come in on November 13th. South Carolina, they allow military ballots to come as late as November 5th. Washington State, ballots can arrive on November 23rd. They do not have to arrive tomorrow to be valid military ballots. So when Donald Trump says he's going to send the lawyers in if he doesn't have the answer he wants on Tuesday night, it's because he does not understand what the laws in each state are for, and they're to protect voters. Although some states go out of their way to disenfranchise voters, like the South. And that's what we spent the whole hour showing you, that if it's not the state's power that's being used to intimidate people or to spray people or to, beat people or to tackle people and to keep them, obstruct them from voting, then it's these Trumpers, okay? Then it's this Trump pansy, they call themselves the Trump train. That train is so off the tracks, I can't even tell you. That train is done. But the military absentee ballots could be critical to the 2020 election. And I just want you to understand what he's saying. I just want you to understand that the president does not have any faith in the fact that when more people vote, he has a better chance. He understands the more people vote, the less of a chance he has. 538 today, Nate Silver, he gives Joe Biden a 90% chance of reaching 270 electoral votes. A 90% chance. Those ain't good odds. So they're admitting on the TV that they're ready to steal this, that they're going to declare victory, because Trump is prematurely going to, he's prematurely. Jason Miller said, if you talk to some smart Democrats, you'll realize they know we're going to steal it.
If you speak with many smart Democrats, they believe that President Trump will be ahead on election night, probably getting 280 electorals, somewhere in that range. And then they're going to try to steal it back after the election.
Steal it back.
We believe that we will be over 290 electoral votes on election night. So no matter what they try to do, what kind of hijinks or lawsuits or whatever kind of nonsense they try to pull off, we're still going to have enough electoral votes to get President Trump reelected.
Okay, so this is what he's saying. 70% of America has already voted. 70% of eligible voters. Well, I shouldn't put it that way. 70% of the total number of voters who voted in 2016. So that was 137 million. 137 million Americans voted in 2016. We have cast 96 million ballots. That is 70% of the total number of votes that were cast in all of 2016. What Jason Miller is sitting on the TV telling you is that Donald Trump's going to declare himself the winner based on 30% of the votes. Just the in-person voting on Election Day, if the turnout was exactly the same as it was in 2016. They're telling you everything. They're showing you everything. Donald Trump is standing on the tarmac screaming, I'm going to call in the lawyers. I'm going to call in the lawyers. The people that are around Donald Trump are sitting on the TV saying, oh, no, we're just going to go off of Election Day in-person ballots. We're not going to count the 96,078,477 ballots that have already been cast. We're not going to count military ballots. We're not going to count absentee ballots. We're not going to count ballots that were dropped off in a drop box. We're certainly not going to count ballots that are in the mail. Not going to do it. And we're not going to count Pennsylvania mail-in ballots at all. And they don't start counting those till the next day after Election Day. So they're just going to go off of who shows up in Look, this is a ruse. This is absolute cheating. They're going to do it for propaganda's sake. They're going to do it so that they could drill it into your head that Donald Trump has enough electoral votes, and somehow the people that already voted, the 96 million of us who already voted, we're cheating. We're cheating. We showed up early. Some people stood in line for 10 hours, 11 hours. They're cheating. Don't you know? They're cheating. So get ready, everybody, because they already told you. Now, I will tell you that we just got a decision from a federal judge in Texas, in Harris County, okay? They tried to discount and throw away, literally, they tried to throw away 127,000 ballots because people voted in their car. They drove through and voted in their car, like you drive through banking, drive through food pickup. So they set up drive-through ballots, drive-through voting because of COVID, you know. And 127,000 people took advantage of drive-in voting, and Donald Trump's team wanted to throw out all those ballots because they didn't think that standing on by a snack tray to vote in person had the same, they think that's got more weight than driving through in your car and filling out a ballot. What? The federal court threw out Donald Trump's demand to throw those ballots away. Now, they were asked for an emergency declaration over the weekend, and they said, no, we'll talk about it on Monday. And then today is Monday, and they talked about it, obviously, and they said, no, that is a legitimate way to vote. And we're not throwing out 127,000 ballots of people who wanted to cast a ballot by driving through in their car and stopping and filling out a ballot. They're trying everything because they know they're going to lose, and they're scared they're going to lose freaking Texas. Texas is in play. Georgia is in play.
Things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Everybody knows who Donald Trump is. Let's show them who we are. We choose hope over fear. We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. And yes, we choose truth over lie after lie after lie after lie. So it's time to stand up. Take back our democracy.
Seriously, dude, this is it. This is your cleansing moment of clarity. This is crunch time. This is it, baby. You're right here. You're right here. And you know what? You know what's really on the ballot? Democracy. Honest to God. Or a king. Democracy or an autocrat. Democracy or a demagogue. A man who doesn't follow the law, who doesn't care, can't be held accountable, knows it, and takes complete and total advantage of that fact. And that fact exists in a memo, an Office of Legal Counsel memo that says that in its brilliant conclusion, you can't indict a sitting president. If not for that rule, it's not a law, but if not for that rule, the president is an unindicted co-conspirator. And all these freaks on the other side, they're like, well, what about the Russia thing? What about that? Your president is an unindicted co-conspirator. And the second he leaves the presidency, he will be an indicted co-conspirator. He has perjured himself in writing to the Mueller investigation, and he obstructed justice 10 different times so that you could not investigate his dealings with Russia. He won't release his tax returns. The man owes $1 billion to God knows who. And he's sitting there, and what happened to their October surprise? It's November. There wasn't one. They're lying. They've been lying. They've been treating everything in America as if it's a reality TV show. Tune in tomorrow for the Durham Report. Tune in tomorrow for Hunter Biden's laptop. Tune in tomorrow for pictures of pedophilia. None of that exists. It doesn't. But you have these wackadoodles out there that follow it like a reality TV show, wanting to think the absolute worst about decent people. It's just so sick. It's so sick. And what does the president do? He stands on a stage and he screams, the doctors are greedy. The doctors are making money off of COVID. That's why they're reporting so many deaths. First it was testing causes COVID, which was not, 15% increase in testing does not make the amount of COVID cases double from the spring to now. It's just ridiculous. Or from the fall until, it is the fall. From the summer till now. I'm sorry, I'm in Florida. We don't have seasons. You get very turned around here. Although I will say today's the first nice day we've had. Except we have no air conditioning in my studio where I'm sitting right now. It's about 100 degrees in here. And I got the bright white lights. Brett's hot too, but it's really hot in here. And of course, I'm wearing long sleeves because it was a cool day today. It was only like 87 or something. But it doesn't cause COVID to double from the summer to the fall because you have a 15% increase in testing, nor does it cause people to have to go to the hospital because you're testing, nor does it cause people to die because you're testing. So now he's just livid about this, and he decided, yeah, it's the doctors that are writing COVID on the death certificates when people really didn't die of COVID.
The president's allies.
No, sorry.
It's rounding.
No, it's hot.
In Germany, if you have a bad heart and you're ready to die, or if you have cancer and you're going to be dying soon,
this is
and
fun.
You catch COVID, that happens. We mark it down to COVID. Our doctors get more money if somebody dies from COVID. You know that, right?
Piece of dung.
Our doctors are very smart people. So what they do is they say, I'm sorry, but, everybody dies of COVID. But in Germany and other places, if you have a heart attack or if you have cancer, you're terminally ill, you catch COVID, they say you died of cancer. You died of heart attack. With us, when in doubt, choose COVID.
He's a sick man. He's a sick, deranged, mean, lunatic, fringy dude. And then they start chanting because it's like a Nazi rally. Fire Fauci, fire Fauci.
It's rounding the turn because all they want to do, you turn in the news, COVID, 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 COVID. Would like to talk about COVID, and then next year, here's what happens, November 4th. You won't hear too much about it. You won't hear too much about it.
What?
Don't tell anybody, but let me wait till a little bit after the election. I appreciate the advice. I appreciate it. Now, he's been wrong on a lot.
Wow. Because he's really good. I'm starting to think he didn't even have COVID. I can't say that as a fact because I have no way to show that he did or didn't. But I swear to God, it's just so bizarre. Fire Fauci. Fire Fauci. And go with the guy that's suggesting herd immunity, which is mass murder, Elma in Yonkers.
Hello, Randy.
Hello.
Well, I wanted to say that you are a big inspiration. I'm sure that for all of your listeners, especially to me. I'm an immigrant. I moved to the States 15 years ago, put myself through college, and now I am a teacher. Part of I'm a teacher here in New York is because I think that you are a teacher for a lot of us. You've been teaching us for a long time about politics, and I've listened to you since the Obama years. And I wanted to sort of like report here in New York. I know that, this is not a swing state, but I am just so proud of the New Yorkers. It took me 3 hours last week to stand in line. And yesterday I drove by the same poll site, and I saw a very long line, probably a 3-hour line wait.
Oh, wow.
It was raining. It was really cold, and people were with their umbrellas, carrying umbrellas. And I just wanted to tell people to not give up. Even in states that are not contested, like New York, we are seeing very long lines. So please do not give up. If you think that your vote is not important in your state, it still is.
It is.
And bring a snack, bring sunscreen. My friend brought a bucket with her, and she sat on her bucket, and that helped her.
Well, thank you, Elma. I appreciate you so much, and congratulations on getting your degree and becoming a teacher. That's awesome. That is amazing. 3 hours to vote in New York, where they're pretty sure it's a blue state. Love it.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
This new president came in office, he had a Republican Congress. Could have passed this beautiful new plan. Didn't happen. They still don't have a plan. When they're asked about it, nobody can find it. They're looking around. It's the same place they put the pandemic playbook that we gave them to tell them how to deal with a pandemic. It's lost. It's gone. Missing.
Missing. The health care plan is missing. It's been 10 years. 10 years. Donald Trump had a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and he was the president of the United States. Didn't get an infrastructure plan. He's lying about the auto industry. The auto industry shed all kinds of jobs, thousands and thousands of jobs. He lies to his rally goers who just, eat this stuff up as if it were like filet mignon, and really it's turds. It's unbelievable how easily fooled they are. But, now he's talking fire Fauci. Fire Fauci, why? Why does he want to fire Fauci? Here's what Anthony Fauci said. He is the top infectious disease expert in the United States. He said, you could not possibly be positioned more poorly going into the winter. We're in for a whole lot of hurt. Mr. Trump's campaign was looking at it from a different perspective. They were focused on economics, not health. Him and Deborah Birx, who I never really, loved ever since she sat there and lost her soul when Donald Trump suggested with a completely straight face that the answer for COVID was to inject, Lysol or to drink some sort. And, of course, hydroxychloroquine, take it. Or stick a lightsaber up your butt and expose your innards to UV light or whatever. And she just sat there. Like a cleaning for the lungs, like disinfectant kills it in a minute. And she just sat there. But now you got Dr. Atlas, and Fauci finally said something about Dr. Atlas. He said, quote, I have real problems with that guy. He's a smart guy, but he's talking about things that I believe he doesn't have any real insight or knowledge or experience in. He keeps talking about things that when you dissect it and parse it out, doesn't make any sense. And then idiot boy that Donald Trump is allowing to make policy for this country, and it is herd immunity, goes on Russian TV and tells Russian TV mask wearing is no good. It doesn't work. Social distancing doesn't work. We have to do something else. Everybody needs to be exposed. Herd immunity. Everybody needs to die. Very sick. Chris in California.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call. My dog's barking.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
I
just
sweating.
wanted to say...
Am I glistening or what?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a bad connection.
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay, great. I just wanted to relay a story. I'm out here in pretty, I guess, somewhat liberal, blue California, but I was having a polite conversation with one of my neighbors who's like a NRA guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday. I think we were talking about boxing, of all things. And then out of the blue, he's like, so you got enough ammunition for Tuesday? And I'm just like, I don't have a gun, so I don't have any ammunition, you know? And it was just a really surreal, kind of bizarre moment. And I just wanted to share it with everybody. But
thanks.
be safe
That just calms the nerves now, doesn't it? That's just so relaxing and tranquil. Thank you.
But, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. Walmart stopped selling guns. You can get them online, but they won't sell them in the stores right now. And ammunition sales are through the roof. Through the roof. You know. David in Texas. David
Hello?
in Texas, yes.
Yes. Music to my ears. Texas is in play.
Yeah.
Texas is in play. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Wow. That just floors me. But I wanted to straighten some things out, because what's going to go on here, even if we turn blue, is the electors going to register a vote for, you know, the popular vote? Isn't it true that an elector, even though he's representing certain people, can vote any way he wants to?
Faithless electors? I don't think so. No. Here's the situation that you might find yourself in. Your governor, Greg Abbott, he might refuse to certify the election. And in that case, your state legislature just might decide, well, nobody has chosen a slate of electors. Nobody certified a slate of electors. So, you know what? We're just going to send our own slate to Washington and let them figure it out. Let them sort through it. Now, I don't think that the court would uphold anything like that, because while the state legislature gets to choose the manner in which the electors are selected, they've already created a law, and you can't really change the law after people start voting.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean they won't try. Doesn't mean that your governor will refuse to certify and that the legislature will say, you know what, let's just pick, what do you got, 38 electoral votes there? I mean, it's huge. But let's just pick 38 electors and send them to Washington and let Washington sort it through. Could happen.
Well,
I think it would be unconstitutional at this point to change the manner in which your state decided to choose their electors, but it could happen. Meaning it could get litigated.
So it's the legislature in each state that decides who electors are?
So the legislature in each state has already passed laws that say the manner in which you're going to choose your electors. That's called your state's election laws. They've already done that. Your governor has already signed that. So that is the law that is in place right now, today, tomorrow, and the next day. Now, if they try to change the law in the middle of counting votes, I don't think that any federal court, including the Supremes, would say that's cool. I think they would say, no. Do you follow?
Okay.
Do you follow?
I think so.
So basically what I'm saying is it's too late to change the way your state agreed to choose the electors. It's too late to change the way.
Yeah.
And the word in there is the manner, right? They say the legislature gets to choose the manner. That means the way that the state has decided to choose its electors. I don't think any court in this land would say, oh yeah, you could change the law and the manner or the way that you choose your electors, even on election day, when 96 million people in this country have already voted under the law that they thought was in play on that day. It just doesn't make sense.
The This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Canada, right across the way. Used to be you could go there, remember? Can't go right now. Turns out this administration was building a wall to keep us in by bungling this pandemic.
It's unbelievable. And now you can't even go to New York unless you're in the surrounding states like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Connecticut. Who else can go? You know, just the surrounding states. Everybody else has to have a COVID test before entering New York. And then if you're in New York on the fourth day, you also have to take another COVID test. And forget your passport. It is now a coaster. Yeah, he built a wall. He built a wall to keep us in. And I've been saying that we're not even free to move about the country. What kind of freedom is this, you freedom freaks? Take a look at us. Look around you. We are not free to move about the country. We are not free to do what we want to do because the president bungled the response to a virus. And Obama keeps driving that point home that they gave him a COVID playbook. They gave him, not a COVID, because this is a novel virus, but they gave them a pandemic playbook that showed exactly how you respond in case of a pandemic like, H1N1 or Ebola or Zika, which we lived through with Obama and you didn't even know was going on because your life was fairly unmolested by it unless you were a pregnant woman in Miami and all of a sudden you were scared of mosquitoes, but they sprayed. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. And so they just, threw away that pandemic playbook. Joe Biden knows that playbook. Joe Biden will bring back the pandemic squad that we had in the White House. Donald Trump, on the other hand, fire Fauci. Fire Fauci. Who are you going to put in charge of this now? Another Fox News contributor or, maybe Ben Carson? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And declare victory, even though, and see, this was the beauty of voting early. People asked me, should we vote early? And I said, yes. Why? Because when 96 million votes have already been cast, and the President of the United States only wants to count the remainder of the ballots that are to be cast on Election Day, you got 96 million pissed off people who stood in line for hours or who went through all the machinations to get their ballot delivered to their house, then filled it out, then took it somewhere and dropped it and got their little sticker. You don't want 96 million Americans, pissed off at you. So I'm saying this intimidation is because the people have come. The people not only were coming and are coming, and they'll be there tomorrow too, but the people have arrived. And 96 million ballots. Now, 2016, the total was 137 million voted. So that's 70% of the entire vote from 2016 already cast. He doesn't want to count them. He doesn't want them counted. Let's see how that plays out. Tom in Florida.
Hey, sir. Grandpa Tom.
Yeah. Carlos in Florida. It's Florida.
Yes,
These are the
Randi.
Florida calls, yes.
Yes. Randi, I was thinking, down here in Florida, I'm nervous about Florida. Then I was thinking, when I remember 2016, we had a third-party candidate, Jill Stein, I believe Johnson, and I think they got 2 or 3%. You think that might make a difference here in Florida?
No. I think that these third-party candidates whose names nobody knows are there for Republicans to throw away their vote on, not Democrats. Democrats are not throwing away their votes. So.
Oh.
And
okay.
women aren't throwing away their votes. Even Republican women, they're not throwing away their votes. They're voting for Biden. That's a gimme. It's done. Senior citizens are voting for Biden. Women are voting for Biden. 87% of African Americans are voting for Biden. So a third party candidate might give Republicans a safe place to check something off on the ballot, but it isn't going to take anything away from Biden. Russell in Texas.
Hey, appreciate the time, Randy.
just like you said, it's a shame that somebody is a sociopath that, accusing other people of doing what his worst faults are, trying to get the smoke away from the fire. But this has been the guy from an early age. His niece told us as much, Mary, when he colored on the wall too, and blamed it on all his siblings on a Sunday afternoon after dinner.
And he had somebody take his entry exams for college because he wasn't smart enough. He wasn't good enough.
Exactly, when the sister did his homework in high school. The thing about it is 127,000 votes. But we've had people pulling against us like Abbott and John Cornyn and stuff. But, luckily we've got good people that are making the difference, like Sheila Jackson Lee and Mary Turner and Elena Doggle, that have fought to let them know that this is legitimate. They know it. And like you said, desperate people do desperate things.
Absolutely.
And this has just been Donald. This has been him. And I really feel like 70% of the vote that's cast thus far in America, or possibly 72, somewhere between 68 and 72, I feel like, have all been votes for Biden and Harris. And if we can get that other 33%, because I really feel like the people that got out are the ones we registered that couldn't even get registered. Young people of color for Obama, and that they went out, and people have worked hard. And yeah, there's a possibility in Texas. I mean, I know it hadn't been since Jimmy Carter, but no, we got to get him out. I was laughing when you were talking about Deborah Birx, because I watched that day, and I could see her just burning a laser in a hole in those pointed shoes when he was saying, couldn't say nothing. But I just never saw the awe with Donald. And for those of us that didn't know him, like me and a few of my friends that worked for NPR and stuff back in the 80s, the guy's been that way. He's been that way.
He's always been a cheater.
Taking the gas is all he is.
He cheats on his taxes. He cheats to get loans. He inflates the value of what he has for loans. He deflates the value of what he has for taxes. He has people take his tests for him because he's just not bright. He went to Fordham University in the Bronx. That's what he could get himself into, right? And then he had to cheat. But I mean, the man is a bad man. That's the thing. He's just bad. He's mean. He's cruel.
He's evil.
He's
evil.
He is evil.
Yeah.
I mean, the word evil is so strong that people would get turned off. But I think when I just say that he's mean and he's cruel and that he's wishing that people would just die quickly, I think people see that and they get that. I think they understand that.
Someone should have slapped him and said, "Hey, Donald, there is no herd. People have got this virus in South Asia, South Korea, different place." And so a kid up in Dallas, second time, heavy vapor, but had it second time, he passed away. I mean, it's just, they see the writing on the wall, and if we'll get somebody in there that can correct this and we can get free of it, like New Zealand and South Korea and some of these places, because he's not going to do anything. I think it was 30 days in, and that's when he told Pence, said, "Hey, it's just too hard." And I've never worked at nothing this hard in my life. And to have Ted Cruz and them say it could be a bloodbath, they see it, and it's going to be that way, I hope. We just got to keep the faith, because overall, for the violence that we think it may occur, I think when it comes right down to the final hour, American people will show that the majority of them have morals and heart.
Where are you in Texas?
I'm down in Matagorda. I'm on. Oh boy, I live in like 90. I've caught so much flack. I've watched these deliverance boat parades come by my house. I live on the water. Oh, and it's been bad, Randy. And that people are like, "You're in Trump country. What are you doing with Biden and Harris and MJ Hager?" I said, "Hey, I'm an American. I'm Native American. I didn't appreciate what Donald did on 4th of July when we went up there and they asked him not to come to their land, and he did." I said, "The whole thing's just been a crap show from day one with him, and it's got to stop."
Thanks, Russell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Mark in California.
Hey, Randy, longtime loyal listener.
Hi.
And I'm loyal because you do, because you do a lot of research for us on our behalf. And you give it to us, and you let us do our own critical thinking, but you guide us along the way. And I think that just like the Trump supporters with the Biden bus, I think that when you get people who call and give you slack. Of course, today, it hasn't been like that, but in the past.
Well, because they can't stop cursing. I mean, I'd put them on the air in a heartbeat. All they want to do, though, is call me a F and B and a liar. And
But I think you hit a nerve of truth with them, and they come out attacking because.
Well, it's cognitive dissonance. It actually has a name. When you live in the bubble of fake news, when you live in the bubble of Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, who literally won a court case by having a judge agree that no reasonable person would believe anything Tucker Carlson says. And so he couldn't possibly defame somebody because nobody believes him, right? But when you have them saying Hunter Biden is a pedophile and Joe Biden is owned by China, but they have tax returns and they have corporate records and none of that actually happened, and then they get to the line, it's time to shoot, and he says, I don't have the goods. They know they've been had. Not by me.